We will discuss this with our regulators, and we will update this committee on the progress of this initiative. We will fully cooperate with the MWSS Regulatory Office as they review our performance during this incident period against our service obligations, particularly in providing 24/7 service. This process is clearly spelled out in Section 10.4 of the Concession Agreement. Madam Chair, as concessionaire of MWSS, with a mandate of treating and distributing water to your constituents, we also appeal to all concerned to firm up the development of new water sources so we, as concessionaires, will have enough raw water supply we can treat and distribute to your constituents. Some quarters may say that we may have been remiss in the past weeks, but we have not been remiss in jumping up and down to advocate for new water sources for many, many years. In 2012, we submitted a business plan to the previous MWSS administration, which carried many proposals for new water sources. As we all know, we were locked into arbitration, and the approved business plan only came out in May of 2015. There has been a lot of relationship between crisis and Manila Water. Manila Water was born 21 years ago because of a water crisis. Let the Manila water crisis today be the catalyst for all of us to stop blaming each other and for once work together for a really serious effort on an implementable 50-year water security master plan for Metro Manila. Madam Chair, if my resignation today will not only erase our supply deficit, but also result to a united front to urgently build new water sources, then I would be extremely happy to resign at this moment. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Mr. I would like to hear now the presentation. Before we begin the questions of the senators, I was requested to maybe hear MWSS first, with your, if you have an opening statement or a statement before we start fielding questions to both these groups.
Madam Chair, we're supposed to give a presentation, but most of our presentation were covered by your opening statement. So may I just start with what really happened in terms of what MWs know about it. As mentioned by Manila Water, they were supposed to have the Cardona treatment plant to be opened good for 100 million liters per day in December of 2018. Unfortunately, not their fault, but because of they claim it was a technical problem, the 100 million liters per day was not delivered. As mentioned, the main source of their water is still the 1,600 million liters per day coming from Angat. The Lamesa Dam is just supposed to be their reserve. So if you imagine the 100 million liters per day that was not delivered from January to that fateful March 6, they were able to consume, and that probably contributed to the low level of Lamesa Dam because that's the reserve. Unfortunately, they have to do the reserve because they have no more source of water. The Cardona plant did not give the desired output in December of 2018. So what did we do? I said there is a problem, therefore we just have to solve the problem. The problem is actually the 200 million liters per day that was lacking to bring them back to operation. And so last 11 January, I met the two concessionaires because MWS cannot just let Manila contribute water to Manila water, because we do not want that we'll have a problem if we just tell Manila you give so much. It might also sacrifice the customers of Manila. So we asked the President, Mr. Fernandez, and he readily agreed to give 50 million liters per day through the border crossing points. Manila which was actually the Manila. If you notice, we do not want the West will have the problem if there are some border points there that they can draw water. So that was immediately given to them, to Manila Water, in connection with Manila, to make sure that they will be able to operationalize this. In addition, we have told them to fast-track the operation of their Cardona plant, because at that time it was undergoing testing for operation. And as reported, as of 14 March, they were able to deliver 24 million liters from that area. So they still need about 100 million liters per day. So we asked Manila Water, how will you source the 100 million liters per day? And so they said they have existing wells that, with the clearance of NWRB, and we would like to thank Executive Director Bill David, because after I requested him, because we cannot operate the wells without clearance from NWRB. So immediately after I posed the problem to Director David, the next day he gave us immediately the clearance for the Manila Water to proceed in re-energizing their wells. And I think as of today, they have already energized about 40 MLD. So this is the reason why they have not normalized. They are only 90%. We hope that in the next few days or few weeks. So all immediately after I 200 million liters per day that will be available to Manila Water, the next day he gave us, this will now be in clearance in place. We hope that we can already normalize not only the 7 PSI, but hopefully at a higher level, so that even the second floor can now be reached by water. Now, in the meantime, yesterday, after the congressional hearing, since it was reported that only 90% was already given the support or normalized the operation, we inventoried our patraks and the tankers, and with the support of the BFP, we agreed that the 156 available tankers should be concentrated on the 11 barangays left, particularly the 3 barangays of Mandaluyong. And we hope that today, with the help of our Bureau of Fire Protection, that we should be immediately, including concentrated on the 11 barangays left, particularly the things that MW has made immediately. And we hope that today, again, since this is already a supply problem, the ball is in the hands of the including concentrated on the 11 barangays left, particularly the things that MW has made immediately. And we hope that today, again, since this is already
Thank you, Mr. Velasquez. Senator Lacson has a question.
In short, and to put it simply, I'll try to compress your statement and the presentation of Manila Water in one statement. No? The major cause, if not the only cause of the shortage, is the failure of Manila Water to operationalize the Cardona water treatment plant. Will you confirm that, Mr.?
Yes, actually, it started with there because that resulted in the utilization of the reserve.
My follow-up questions will just, I'll just ask my follow-up questions at the proper time during my time slot, Madam Chair.
Senator Lacson, a quick manifestation. It's Senator Soto's turn. Sir, go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. With the indulgence of our colleagues, most of my questions for Manila Water were answered by their presentation. No? So we will look into the records of that presentation. Now, as for the team initiatives that they were mentioning, perhaps we can ask about it later. But the other social issues can be addressed by my colleagues. I would just like to go directly to the some technical aspects with the MWSS. You mentioned earlier that the Cardona the project was not operationalized because there was a technical problem. What is the technical problem? You did not elaborate.
Manila Water will be in a better position to answer, Your Honor.
Your Honor, just to give a little bit of background on the Cardona water treatment plant, this is the first plant of Manila Water which will draw water from Laguna Lake. And we know the raw water quality of Laguna Lake, and sometimes it changes depending on the level, high tide, low tide season. So there are salinity consideration apart from other items. We built our most complicated water treatment plant in Cardona, which requires an even more sophisticated reverse osmosis process, as discussed by our NKTI resource person. And we have to pass strict standards to make sure that the raw water from Laguna Lake will pass the standards of DOH, because the standards has to be drinking water. So there were two specific issues why we did not meet the December target. Number one, the discharge pipe, which brings the brine back to the Laguna Lake, had a leak, a structural leak. And this pipe is embedded under the street. So it was creating a lot of leak on the streets where people pass. So we cannot compromise the integrity.
Where is that particular?
In Cardona, Your Honor.
Cardona itself?
Yes, in Cardona itself. The second one is that we have what we call as a 28-day run. We're in for 28 days. The plant would consistently pass certain standards. Even if you fail on the 27th day, you have to repeat the process, because that's part of the protocol. We had several tries of that, and we were only able to complete and solve these two technical issues. And on March 14, so we were delayed by 2.5 months. So we produced 24 million liters per day on March 14. The other contingency, and this is something that we had to do because long ago, the reason why this concession was created was to minimize the dependence of deep wells in Metro Manila. But because we don't have any other surface water and we have limited supply from Angat, we had to go to deep wells. On February 14, 2017, we sent a letter to NWRB for us to allow the old NWSS deep wells with a capacity of more than 100 million liters per day. We only got permission to use them for 3 months during the summer on March 14. And next month, what we mobilize our team such that by next month, we will already have 40 million liters per day coming from these deep wells. I hope I have clarified the two interim issues that was cited. The Cardona plant is one, the deep well one is another one. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. going back to the MWSS now, after that explanation of what you meant by technical problem, there was an article published in the Philippine Star which quotes you as saying that new water sources are being proposed or constructed on proposed dams. Ano po ba mga dam ito? What dams are you referring to?
Right now, Your Honor, we have the Kaliwa Dam, which was already bidded, and it's now undergoing the engineering and engineering design portion of the project, and we hope that this project will be started something in July or August.
So this is not delayed, it is undergoing
No,
construction.
this was already awarded, Your Honor. This was actually a project that started even the time of the late President Marcos, and it's only during this administration that this one has moved.